Good afternoon. North Carolina Vinyl Picker is on. It's Sunday, and I have a few things to show you that I've picked up this week. Just a few, because I'm not going to those thrift stores anymore, not getting those 99-cent, $2, $3 records anymore. I'm just going to be getting the stuff that I want to get that is on my list. And my list is dwindling down because I'm paying my attention to my list, and I'm going to focus on that from going forward, which is going to make me very happy. So we'll show you what I got here this week. I only got about 4 or 5 to show you, and then I'm going to start a new series where I'm going to show you my entire collection. We're going to go A through Z. Today I picked out 50 records starting with A, and we're going to move forward. And this way here I can check them all as I go through, make sure they all have their inner liners, make sure they have no more paper inner sleeves that are in there I can get rid of. Also make sure I don't have any doubles. If I have doubles, I'll put them in the stack in the other room, and those are going out for VCLT. Also, I'm going to put together a bundle of records to take to my local store. Working on a deal where I can take them somewhere and then trade them in first, maybe get a couple of grails. So let's go ahead and kick this off. Also, I got the big box. It left. It went out. It left 2 days ago now. It's on its way to somebody. So keep an eye out on your porch, because you could be the one that's going to be getting those big boxes. And they're coming in 2 boxes this time. So you're going to be big box number 1 and big box number 2, but they're both going to the same location. I won't give any hints on where the location is, except for it's a little bit northwest of me. Okay, so here you go. Here's the records that I've picked up this week. This is a record that I used to have in my collection years ago. They're called Purge. They're an Italian band. They do fusion rock. This album here is called Fata Morgana. They had several albums before this one. This was their RCA release in the States, and I really like it. So, you know, I'm all about the jazz, and I like the progressive jazz, the fusion jazz, so to speak. I'm not so much on the old-timey jazz. So, yeah, playing that right now, and that's sounding pretty good, let me tell you. How about Stupid Dream by Porcupine Tree? It didn't have this one on LP, but I have had this on CD. I have I think I have 2 copies, maybe 3 copies of this on CD. I have their entire catalog on CD, but I'm slowly getting all their albums. I'm only missing a couple, missing The Sky Moves Sideways and a couple other ones. So this one here is really nice to have in the collection. I went to a record store here in Valdez, North Carolina, and the guy's real nice there, and he's got a really great store. So yeah, Stupid Dream, glad to have it. He had another copy there. He had 2 copies, and this is one I don't see out in the wild, that's for sure. And when I went in, he was playing Porcupine. He was playing Steven Wilson, Insurgentes, his first solo album, and then he went back upstairs and he came back down, and then he was playing Pat Metheny. Yeah, both records right up my alley. That's what I told him. I need to get over there more. I hadn't been over there in a while. Put that one down, and I was able to get this one there as well when I was there. This is an Eagles album. We take this out of the plastic. It's got double plastic on it. Still has the shrink on here. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this here. Let's get rid of that shrink. There you go. It's like Tuco. Take that shrink off of there. Okay, so here you go. Eagles, Desperado. Great album. I didn't have this one in my collection, but I have it now. It's got the textured cover. It's a brand new recording of this album, and I was looking forward to this. I think this is my favorite Eagles. The first 3 albums are my favorite of the Eagles. I like their later releases, but I like their early releases with Randy Meisner and Bernie Leadon and those in that lineup. So that was really fun to get, and looking forward to giving that a spin. I'll give that a spin. And then I got this one in the mail, another jazz fusion record. This one's got Peter Robinson on it, and it's called Contraband. It's Time and Space. If you can find it, this album's not easy one to find. This one came out, of course, in the 70s when fusion jazz was at its height. And yeah, so this is a great one to find. And if you can find this album, if you're into that kind of music, you would really enjoy it. And this would have been after he did Quartermass, and right around that time he was getting ready to join Brand X with Phil Collins. All right, so here we go. We clean this up a little bit, and we'll start with 10cc. So this is their debut, and this one has the hit single "I'm Not in Love." I picked this up recently. I think I paid $5 for it. So this is one of the 10cc albums I did not have. So this is the first album in my album collection. Wow, we got a long way to go. But I think I'm going to do 50 a night for the next 50 days. What do you think of that? That's about how long it's probably going to take us. We'll see how long it takes us. We'll do 50 a night, and we'll see how many days it takes. So we're starting on, today's July 3rd. And so I'll have to mark that down on my notebook here, and then we'll see how many days it takes us to get through the entire collection. So I want to pull out all the. So it's good for me. It's good therapy. I can go through these and clean them all up at the time. Most of these are already been cleaned, and they already have the inner sleeves in them. But I'm going to open each one of them and make sure they don't have any extra paper sleeves in them that I can get rid of, and try to lighten the load a little bit, just in case I gotta move these things again someday, you know. So there you go. There's the first one out the box. Let's go ahead and I'll just stack these up. Here's number 2. This album is called How Dare You, 10cc. I paid up for a little bit for this one. Paid $10. This is I'm not sure if this is their second album, but these are in order, of course, of 1, 2, and 3. In their discography, but they may have had another one in between here. This is another great album of theirs. And the third album I have of theirs is Bloody Tourist. I've given these a listen to one time, and I prefer the first album over the second and third, but that's just me. It's kind of like pop music. It's not really progressive. How about the 1910 Fruit Gum Company coming in at number 4? This is my 4th release in my collection, and this is on the Buddha Records. And I enjoyed some bubblegum pop, and this is kind of a little bit psych, not too much more of bubblegum pop. 1910 Fruit Gum Company, and they had a few hits back in the day. Sweet Lovin', Special Delivery, Indian Giver. You wouldn't see that cover nowadays, I don't think. No. How about this one here? This was I'm going to lose count here. This is number 5. This one here is 3 to the power of 3. So this was the Emerson, Lake and Palmer album they did, and this is the album they did without Carl Palmer, I believe. No, this is the one they did without Greg Lake. I'm sorry. So this one was Robert Barry, Carl Palmer, and Keith Emerson. It's when ELP had broken up and they fractured into two different bands. They had this album, and then they had another band, Emerson, Lake and Powell. That's the album they did without Carl Palmer. They used Cozy Powell. They made a couple of records in the and this would have been 80s. It has 80s written all over it. So this is 3 to the power of 3, and it has a remake of 8 Miles High. Has I don't think they really had a hit on here except Talking About. That was the first song on side A. But it's a good album. But it's again, like Rob the Wax says, this is a 80s album, and you know how those 80s albums can be. For people who love the 80s, they would probably love this album right here. So there you go. We're moving right along. We've gotten to our first A album. Okay, well, here we go. Al Di Meola, his first album. I have almost a complete collection of all the vinyl releases from Al Di Meola, especially these early releases. And this is on the 360 Columbia. Land of the Midnight Sun. Love Al Di Meola. Always, I've been listening to Al Di Meola for a long time. This one here I have 2 copies of, but I think I'm going to keep the second copy because this one here is sealed. And it has the old nice price on there, the old sticker on there. Yeah. So I think I'll keep this one here sealed up, and I'll keep my other copy as well. But I'm trying to go ahead and dwindle down my doubles. But as we go along here, I'm going to have a few doubles. So Land of the Midnight Sun. That's Al's first album, solo album. Then he came out with Elegant Gypsy. Another great album. This one here is a half-speed master that I picked up. And then again, this is another copy of Elegant Gypsy, but this one here is a promo. So I'll end up keeping both of these, but I won't be looking for a third, because I have probably the best 2 sounding copies I can find right here. So you need to give this one a spin. It's been a while since I've heard these albums. I saw him live in Orlando. Man, was he incredible. Like I saw John McLaughlin one time live. Casino would have been his 3rd album. And this also on the 360 Columbia. And yeah, another great album of Al Di Meola. If you're not familiar with Al Di Meola, check out some of his catalog. His early stuff. His later stuff is good too. Then he came out with this one, Splendido Hotel, the double album, more jazz fusion, more 360 Columbia. Then he came out with Tour de Force Live. A lot of his live songs from those first 4 albums. This got the Race with the Devil on a Spanish Highway. Incredible speed of his guitar. If you love good jazz fusion, Al Di Meola is your man. That's for sure. How about Electric Rendezvous? This got Al Di Meola. This is the old Al Di Meola. And this has, I believe, this one here has Jan Hammer on it. Has Paco de Lucia and Steve Gadd on this album. I put all of my records into Discogs, so I'm checking them in Discogs as I'm going as well. So that's what I'll be doing this evening. Soaring Through a Dream, the Al Di Meola Project. And this one's got the punch out on it. I was glad to find this one. This is another excellent album of his. Now, going into the 80s, his records are harder to find because of the CDs were taken over. That's all I have for the Al Di Meola project. I'm still lacking a few albums, and I'll be on the hunt for them. If I usually pick them up, usually can find Al Di Meola's albums for like $5. Okay, then we're going to go from Al Di Meola to Al Stewart. Here's The Year of the Cat. Everybody knows that song. It's been on the radio for years. This is a really good album, and it's on the Janus Records, same as the band, one of my favorite bands, Camel. We'll get to them when we get to the C's. So here you go with Al Stewart. Here's Al Stewart, Time Passages. Another great album by Al Stewart. If you're not into Al Stewart, if you don't know Al Stewart, probably pick up this one here, or his first one. And Time Passages is another song that's on the radio frequently. And then I found a third Al Stewart album, 24 Carats, and this one here probably not as good as the other 2, but sometimes I'm just a completist. I don't know how I end up doing all that, but sometimes I am. Then we're moving into Alan Parsons' project. Here's Tales of Mystery and Imagination. This album came out in two separate different covers. Here's the other cover. I'll put them side by side for you. You've probably seen them both in record stores and other people showing them. I believe one was a original release, and then they re-released it. This one here came out in '76. This one was released in '78. So for some reason they redid the cover. I'm not real sure why, but I'm sure you could Google that and then find out. Most likely. And how about I, Robot? I remember when this album came out, I was in the service and I was in Baltimore and I heard it. And it sounds a whole lot like disco. It's during that time when this album came out that disco was really taking over. And this is a German release, German pressing of this album. Sounds really good. I don't think I'll be looking for anything better than this one. But this is a great album. I put it on once in a while and brings me back to a time when I was younger and I was had just gone into service around 1977, 78 time frame. Excuse me. I'll put these up so we can continue on here. How about some Pyramid? Used to listen to this album a whole lot when I first got married, and I used to have a hot tub on the back porch, and we would play this all the time. Had speakers out there, and just enjoy listening to Pyramid. So I had a poster. Actually, it was a picture. I took a picture of the pyramids, the Great Pyramids, when I was in Egypt, and I went down inside the pyramid, and it was. If you're claustrophobic, that's not the place you want to be going into. Apparently, I wasn't claustrophobic, and still ain't today. But yeah, it was an interesting time, and we used to get a lot of use out of this album here, Pyramid. Great album by Alan Parsons. Probably my favorite. A lot of people like Eye in the Sky, which is coming up, but I like. I think that Pyramid would be my favorite Alan Parsons. And here we got with Eve. I have found another copy of this recently in a thrift store. I think I paid $1 for it, so I have an extra one of those, and that's in the other room. But yeah, this is another great Alan Parsons. These albums are all great. Eric Woolfson is no longer with us, and Alan Parsons continues on to this day. He has a new album coming out. But I don't think you can, none of his albums after Gaudi with Eric Woolfson can compare to, none of his solo work, I don't think, is compared to his releases, his first 7 or 8 releases with the Alan Parsons Project. I've seen them live. They were really outstanding. I took my daughter to see Alan Parsons. I was her first concert. And got her a nice t-shirt and stuff, and she still remembers going to that show today. I think I've seen them. I think I saw Alan Parsons twice. Seen them in Orlando twice when I lived in Florida. So yeah, there you go. Turn of a Friendly Card. Another great Alan Parsons album. Here's Eye in the Sky. It's a lot of people, this is their favorite Alan Parsons record. And the title track on here, I believe, was basketball. They used it for the opening of one of the basketball teams when they came out on the floor. I think it's the song Cirrus. I think that's the instrumental they used for the basketball players to come out onto the hardwood. And here you go with the Best of Alan Parsons Volume 1. Being that completist, you know. Had to have it. So this one here is on my collection as well. These Alan Parsons Project albums will never, ever leave my collection. That's for sure. And how about Ammonia Avenue? Another great Alan Parsons album. Going through these pretty quickly. I'm trying to keep, well, we're already at 20 minutes. How about Vulture Culture? Anybody that's into Alan Parsons, they know all these albums inside and out. Stereotomy, another great Alan Parsons album. This is the one that's harder to find. It's in that blue plastic cover, and I was able to find this at a flea market in Mount Dora in Florida. Some of these records I know where I picked them up. Isn't that weird? Can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, but I can remember where this album. I bought this record album, and here's we're getting to the end here of the great Alan Parsons Project albums, and this is Gaudi, and I ended up with the CD of Gaudi. I didn't have a jewel case for it, so I ended up just sticking it in here. This album is just incredible. It's one of my favorite. It's one of the last Alan Parsons Project albums. Alan Stivell. I don't really know much about this album. Renaissance of the Celtic Harp. Still has the no, I thought it had the plastic on it still. It does. Let's get rid of that. I'm taking all the plastic off my records as I go too. Get rid of all that. I don't really know much about this album. I don't think I've ever even played this album. So I'm going to put this one to the side. And that's going to give a listen. And if I don't like it, then that's going in the other room. I already pulled another one out, see? How about Alex DeGrassi? Now, Windham Hill, I love Windham Hill records. I'll never turn my back on a Windham Hill record. I see it in the antique mall or thrift store. I always pick them up. Usually they're $1, and they're all incredible musicians. And the Windham Hill records sound so incredible. So that's Alex DeGrassi, and I think I have 3 of his records I found. This one here is called Slow Circle. That last album is called Turning Back. That's what that one was. And then I have a third one here. This one here is called Clockwork. These all are staying in the collection for sure. Oh, here's a 4th one, Southern Exposure. Alex DeGrassi. Okay, now we're moving into Mr. Alice Cooper. How about Pretty's For You? This is a copy I picked up here close by where I live up here in North Carolina, and it's on the Straight Records. And he had, I believe, Zappa had something to do with Alice Cooper in the beginning of forming of the band, because I believe Straight Records was Frank Zappa's label, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. Put that in the down there below. I hope there's going to be some people that are going for this ride with me through my 50 records today, and then 50 again. It'll be 50 again tomorrow. But we'll just move right through these pretty quick. It's still going to take me a long time. It might take me over a month to get us through all these. But it'll be, like I said, it'll be good for me, and it's going to be good for you. You get to look at all of Big Chief's records. Here we go with Easy Action. I saw someone selling this one the other day. I might have been on the sale last night with Patrick and them. But it has the straight up here, and it's on the Burbank label with the palm trees. This really sounds good, and I'm glad to have this one. I had all these records when I was a kid. I think this was the first album that I ever had of Alice Cooper. And this one here is Love It to Death. Here's the one where he's got his thumb through there, pretending to be something different than a thumb. But yeah, this is the one that was banned, and then they re-released it like this. So you got this, and you got this. And I don't really think I'll need 2 copies. This one here is on the Warner Brothers, so I'm going to put this one to the side. But that one there is probably going to go out to somebody. I'll keep the one with the thumb. So that one there is going to probably sound better. It's from the master tape. I think Patrick said it was from the same pressing as the Straight Records. And of course we had Killer. Now I'm looking for the one with the poster. So if I find the one with the poster, I'll be kicking this one to the curb. So for now, We have this one. But I'm looking for the one with the poster, which isn't easy to find. I had it back in the day. I'm going to have it again. I'm just a matter of time finding one. I see them every once in a while, but a lot of times the poster is separate. They're selling just the poster. So maybe I'll just buy the poster and put it with it and call it a day. So, how about this album, School's Out? I don't have the one with the panties. I used to have it. I think I've told the story before. I was on the Jersey Shore when I was a kid, probably around 13 or 14 years old, maybe 12. And then down there, and then back in the day at Seaside Heights in New Jersey, you would spin the wheel, and then they'd pick a number, and then if it landed on your number, then you get to pick a record. And I picked up School's Out, Alice Cooper. So yeah, no longer have that original copy or the panties, but once I do find the record with the panties again, and I'm not sure which because I've seen the panties in white and I've seen them in pink, so I'm not sure which were the original panties for when it was first released. They may have. So if anybody knows that, put that down in there, because once I get the Alice Cooper record with the panties, then I'm kicking this one to the curb. I'll be sending that out to somebody or taking it somewhere for a trade-in. How about some $1 Billion Babies? And this one here has the bill inside, the $1 Billion Bill. It's another great album of theirs. Glad to have it in my collection again. This one here, I was lucky to find a copy of Muscle of Love. It's got a little bit of water damage there, but it doesn't affect anything. Still looks good. Just a little discoloration on there, and do not bend. You know, this one here you just don't see very often. I think I found it in a antique mall. I think I paid all of $5-7 for it. So I was fortunate to find one. Just finding one, you know, I don't even know. It's probably been re-released. I don't know. Oh, we're getting down to the end of the first 50 here. How about Welcome to My Nightmare? See, back in the day, I didn't have anything past this album, the Muscle of Love. So I bought Welcome to My Nightmare, and I'm just not real crazy about this album. You know, it's got I think it has Uncle Vinny on here. It's got Vincent Price on here, and some. This is when he kicked his band to the curb, changed his name to Alice Cooper, and then they came out with an album, $1 Billion Babies, Battle Axe or something. I don't have that record. I don't know. I've seen it, but in the wild, but I never picked it up. So I don't know about this record. This one here might be going to the curb too. And I'm just going to keep my original Alice Cooper records because that's what I like. Okay, now we're getting back into some jazz, and of course, all my records are all mixed in. They're all alphabetical. So we got Alan Holdsworth. Alan Holdsworth is a jazz guitarist. He's no longer with us, but he loved his beer. I think he made beer. I think he bottled his own beer. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But Alan Holdsworth was in Soft Machine. He was in UK. He was in lots of bands. He was, I think he was in a band called Tempest. He was in a lot of different bands, and he also made a lot of solo records. Been accused. So some people say, well, he's got too many notes. Yeah. I saw him during the IOU tour, which I don't have that album, but I'd like to find it. I saw him in a small club back in I guess it would have been early '80s, up in Connecticut, I believe. And yeah, he was just awesome. What a guitar player. The sad loss there. He died young. Alan Holdsworth. That one is staying in the collection. I got to find IOU. I think IOU was a black cover and just had the gold letters on it. This one here, classic record, Allman Brothers Band, live at the Fillmore. I picked this one up at a antique mall here in North Carolina. Had all of $10 on it, which is a double album. I thought it was a good price at the time. Looked it over well, but when I brought it home, it has a skip on two of the songs. And so I like live albums on CDs. I don't know why. I guess it's because I wanted to play all the way through. Like if I had a copy of The Wall, which I really not a real fan of The Wall or the last couple Pink Floyd albums. I think I'd want it on CD, only because you don't have to get up like 4 times and change and flip it over. on a live record. But anyway, I got this one here, and I love the album. I've always loved this album, and yeah, so I'm looking forward to giving that a listen. Brothers and sisters, I had this album when I was a kid, and I remember having this album. I really like it, and that's something I'm going to be keeping in my collection as well. Got the old Ramblin' Man on here, and got some great songs. I want to get Eat a Peach. I have Eat a Peach. I think I have it on CD. This one here, Brothers of the Road. This is another one I'm going to be probably purging and getting rid of. It's a cutout, so yeah, putting some stuff aside. These are the records I'll be probably taking to my friend here in North Carolina to do some selling. How about the Amboy Dukes? There's another record I'm going to be taking out of my collection with old Sweaty Teddy, and just not a real fan of. I'm not a big fan of garage rock or hard rock too much. I like more progressive rock and stuff like that. Yeah, and jazz fusion. That's my thing. Everybody has their own thing. That happens to be my thing. This one here is not really in my wheelhouse. I thought I would like it, but that one's going to the side too. This is good. Never know what I'm going to be putting to the side. Here's a good band here, Ambrosia. Now these guys are progressive rock to some extent. Not real severe prog, but yeah, it has prog tendencies. Nice, very nice. And it's got, yeah, they had a couple of hits. Hold On to Yesterday was a hit of theirs, kind of proggish. Kind of takes you out there a little bit. So I'll be keeping this one. And there's another, Somewhere I've Never Traveled, another Ambrosia album. So holding on to these two. So yeah, looking good. I got rid of some of the plastic on two of them. I purged 1, 2, 3, 4. I purged 5 more records, so we're down to 45. So I got 5 out of there. So maybe when I get my record collection all down to size here, I'm going to have quite a bundle to either use for VCLT, or I'm going to take I'm probably going to purge, like, I don't know, maybe 150 records. If I can take 100 of them and purge them, that'll be good, and then maybe I can get a couple grails with that. If you're not listening to them, there's no sense of holding them all in your collection. So when I first started collecting records again, I went a little nutso and bought a bunch of stuff that I really don't care for. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there in the VC that have done that. Oh, we're over 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a day here. I'm glad you all came to watch me. If you like my show, go ahead and hit the bell and sub me up, and then I'm going to be doing another show tomorrow night. We're going to go through a fresh 50, and then we'll see what I'm going to purge tomorrow and clean up. And so this is good. I'm going to be able to show you my collection at the same time. I can go through these and pull out a bunch of stuff that I don't really need or want anymore. So we'll talk to you soon. North Carolina Vinyl Picker. God bless our troops also. Happy 4th of July. And be safe out there. Don't be blowing off no fingers or nothing. And make sure you got a bucket of water if you're using fireworks and stuff. And keep those kids away from those sparklers. Can be dangerous. They said they get up to like 2,000 degrees. So be careful with those sparklers too. So y'all take care out there. Like I said, God bless our troops. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bye for now.